Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some breaking news for the Florida Gators coming late Saturday night as Russ Callaway, the tight ends coach, getting promoted to the offensive coordinator role heading into the 2024 season. I read the message boards. I read Twitter. I know there are a lot of different opinions on Russ Callaway and his promotion to co-offensive coordinator. I want to get into some of the pros and cons, talk a little bit about what I've seen from Russ Callaway going back to his time at Samford, spend some time this Sunday morning looking back at some of those Samford offenses and talk about what this Florida Gators offense is going to look like in 2024. Really excited to get into this one. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys and a massive shout out to the Florida Gator fans. We just talked about letting Graham Mertz off the leash in this 2024 season a couple days ago, did a little film review on Graham Mertz. This is a hire that I think is going to allow maybe Graham Mertz to push the ball down the field a little bit more. You look at Russ Callaway, what is he known for? I mean, at Samford, had some of the best passing attacks that we saw at the FCS level. And I think if you're a Florida Gator fan, what is the perfect scenario is Billy Napier and Russ Callaway come together. Billy Napier really kind of implementing that run game. We know Billy Napier can scheme up a rushing attack, but you also want to marry that rushing attack with a dynamic passing attack, and that is potentially where Russ Callaway could come in on this. Before we get into diving into Russ Callaway, diving into this Florida Gators offense, just want to say thank you to you guys. A shout out to the Gator fans. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, would love to hear how you guys are feeling about this one in the comment section. I get a lot of differing opinions. Would love to chop it up with you guys. And without further ado, let's get into Russ Callaway and let's talk about the criticisms of this hire first. And I'm not going to get up here and say this is a home run hire because we don't know a ton about Russ Callaway at the Power 5 level, but I'm also not going to get up here and completely drag this hire as well. Many people saying on the message boards and on Twitter, this is a lazy hire. Well, I think there's a lot of lazy takes about this hire as well in terms of just, it's an elevating a young offensive mind. That's lazy by Billy Napier. I mean, that's, I think, a very superficial, very surface level evaluation of this move. And again, I'm not getting up here and saying this is a dynamite hire. We don't know what Russ Callaway is. We don't even know if he's going to be calling the plays. But I think that Russ Callaway is a rising star in this coaching industry. You hear the reports, Russ Callaway getting a lot of attraction, not only from other college football programs, but from the NFL ranks as well. He's 35 years old, did a phenomenal job as a young offensive coordinator at Samford. And I mean, Billy Napier wouldn't promote him to that co-offensive coordinator role if he didn't think he was a very good coach and a very good football mind. Did a phenomenal job with the tight ends in that 2023 year. I thought Arlis Bordenham really took a step. There's pros and cons to this hire. And I guess the cons would be this is another young this is another young coordinator, right? Now you have Austin Armstrong and Russ Callaway, two guys that, I mean, they're young, they're inexperienced, they're kind of high risk, high reward kind of guys. And that's probably the biggest negative that you're working with is this Florida Gators offense left a lot to be desired in the 2023 season, and you didn't bring someone outside of the program to come in, inject some energy into this program. Now, the pros that I see, and it starts with what this offense could look like. And again, we don't know what the play calling is going to look like. It sounds like Russ Callaway is at least going to have a pretty strong hand in what this offense looks like. For Florida Gator fans, I think the best case scenario, and you guys know me, I'm not going to get up here every time and just kind of drag hires. We don't know how the hires are going to turn out. You might as well talk about how they work as well as the question marks that we have. Russ Callaway is a guy that designed a very good passing attack for Samford, worked with a guy in Duck Hodges who got drafted into the NFL, kicked it around in the NFL for a couple of years. Russ Callaway is at the FCS level, a proven developer of quarterbacks and a proven developer of a passing attack. And what was the one thing we just talked about a couple of days ago about how Florida takes that step in 2024? It really starts with letting Graham Mertz off the leash, right? Graham Mertz and this Florida Gators offense were outside of the top 100 in average depth of target. They really didn't let Graham Mertz push the ball down the field, be aggressive attacking that deeper third. But Graham Mertz was phenomenal on the film. Like, we went back, talked about what we saw from Graham Mertz. He was one of the better quarterbacks that we saw in the SEC, and I think he was getting held back a little in terms of what he can do. The positives that I see about Russ Callaway taking over this offense is potentially allowing Graham Mertz to get a little bit off the leash. I mean, Russ Callaway is a guy that wants to throw the football. He wants to push it downfield. Had an offense in 2018 at Sanford that was number 1 in the FCS in passing yards per game at 392. Russ Callaway has proven play calling ability. He has proven development of quarterbacks at the FCS level. And I think that's probably what you're most excited with. And I think this is kind of you're pushing all the chips into the middle for Billy Napier. And I think a lot of Florida Gator fans agree, whether you like this hire, whether you don't like this hire. This is a hire that if you let Russ Callaway come in and you let him have a say in what this passing attack looks like, this could be a phenomenal hire that could save Billy Napier's job. But if Billy Napier is just doing this for the optics, right, this could cost Billy Napier his job at Florida. Right? This is kind of the year I think a lot of Florida Gator fans agree. If you don't see significant improvements in multiple departments of this team, you're probably not going to see Billy Napier back for the 2025 season. So I think Billy Napier has a lot of confidence in Russ Callaway because he knows this is the year that he needs to put it all together. And the fact that he didn't go outside the program to hire an offensive mind, that I think tells you that he has a lot of confidence in Russ Callaway. And you look at Russ Callaway's track record, really good track record at Sanford. Again, going into that 2018 season, partially why I was so late getting out to this is I had to go back and watch some Sanford offense. I really don't know much about Russ Callaway and his offense. The thing that stuck out to me the most is, one, we're pushing the ball down the field. That's what we want to see the Florida Gators do. 2, you look at some of the numbers, and that Sanford offense had 8 players have 20-plus catches in 2018. He wants to spread you out. He wants to get the football to his playmakers in space. You go back and watch that Florida State game in the first half in 2018, they were giving Florida State all they could handle on the offensive side of the football. Guys were getting open. The ball was getting pushed downfield. I like Russ Callaway. And I'm not saying this is, again, I'm not going to get up here and say this is a home run hire because this is not one of the top offensive coordinators that we've seen at the college football level coming to Florida. But it is a guy that I was really impressed to see what he did at Sanford designing that offense. But more importantly, if Billy Napier and Russ Callaway can come together and synchronize a really good run scheme that Billy Napier is going to drop and combine that with a really good passing attack that Russ Callaway is going to bring to the table, you could see this hire pay massive dividends for the Florida Gators. I think it comes down to, is Billy Napier going to relinquish some control of this offense? I think that's kind of what it comes down to, right? How much is Billy Napier going to listen to Russ Callaway, going to implement what Russ Callaway wants to do in this passing attack? And if he together, I mean, this could be a really good hire. It's definitely newsworthy. I'm really excited to see what this offense kind of comes together and looks like during spring practice. We'll obviously be breaking down those spring practice notes in spring game. I'm not going to go as far and say it's a lazy hire. I think there's a lot of people that just want to kind of drag everything Billy Napier does, and I get being critical, and we have been critical of Billy Napier plenty, but I'm not going to just get up here and say this is a bad hire because it's from within the program, because I have a lot of respect for Russ Callaway and what he's done as an offensive mind. And you talk about bright rising stars on the offensive side of the football. I think Russ Callaway certainly one of those guys. We'll see how it plays out. Another massive talking point for the Florida Gators as they open up spring practice. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.